Paul, thanks for joining us today. So Paul Walker has a proven track record in the creating, implementing, and drive of strategic goals within an organization. He is the Chief Operating Officer at EFT, so he sees the day-to-day administrative and operational functions of the business. EFT is one of the leading providers in life safety and security systems across the UK. So Paul, can you tell us more about EFT and the relationship with Pulse Systems?
In terms of what we do, so we look after life safety systems, which predominantly is fire systems. So we install and maintain the systems in order to preserve life. It's really that simple. I met Kevin Davis, who's the Managing Director of Pulse Systems, on a Growth Catalyst programme, which was run by the Liverpool City region. And I met Kevin on the first day, which was just check my date, the 28th of January 2020. The days before COVID. What a different world that was. And when Kevin introduced the business in front of the group, it was very clear that what Kevin and the team at Pulse could do would fit into our strategic goals, because we were looking to enhance the systems within the industry. There's a lot of systems in the industry that don't report in real time. And unfortunately, that means a lot of downtime, a lot of engineers going to sites. No first time fix isn't great for customers. The compliance isn't readily available for customers on real time.
So you've worked with Pulse to develop a cloud-connected smart fire and emergency lighting system. Now, what does this mean for EFT, but also what does this mean for your clients?
I think if I start with what it means for the industry, would be a good starting point, really, is that we're bringing the industry forward, because a lot of the systems are standalone on site and there's no reporting other than you have to go to the building, to the system, to understand what's actually happening on the system. Whereas through the cloud-based technology that we've developed, we can do that remotely from any kind of device, any location. So what that means then for the client and ultimately their customers or the end user is we can maintain safety from a distance. So we can understand compliance, is it within a compliance period? Is every device being tested? Is every device functional? Because we can do functional testing without actually being on site. Further to that, if there is a fault, traditionally what would happen is the fault would be reported to us. We would get very little information. So for instance, if we use an example that a fire panel's gone into fault, what our new product will do is alert us when it's gone into fault, but also tell us what the fault is. That leads to us being able to dispatch to site, knowing what we're attending. The company that employ us, or the customer that employ us, we can actually have a fully managed service. So they don't have to report that call to us. We'll already know, and we can also let anybody know within their business that there is a fault. So depending on who they want to know, we can let them know in real time as well, via email, via SMS text, by whatever method they decide. So it's truly an integrated approach, this, that we're looking for supporting our clients and their customers by having real-time information off the site. And I think that's extremely valuable, because what it also does is when testing is taking place by the client, we do monthly testing, it will demonstrate which call point's been tested. It might sound a bit boring, but it's quite an important part, because every call point in a year needs testing. And generally what human behaviour is, you'll test the call point nearest to the point you're sat, maybe. So say a site manager is testing a call point, they may only test that same call point over a 12-month period. Well, the system will tell us exactly which call point's been tested, and we can also design routines into the system that will let the client know what they need to test to enable it to meet the compliance and regulations. So it's quite exciting, because a lot of it as well is led by dashboards. So it all feeds into master dashboards where actually we can feed other building management services into the same dashboard. So it's a one-stop shop for building management as well. We're not just containing it to fire and emergency lights. It can look at air quality. It can look at anything that's got a device reading, so temperatures in loft spaces. And we've developed the system significantly. And I think the approach is really working, where the technology knowledge of Pulse is fantastic, coupled with our industry knowledge and our customer experience knowledge. And by combining that, the products have been born through our combined efforts.
So you mentioned compliance before.
Yeah.
What does this new era of cloud-connected smart tech mean for the future of compliance reporting?
So compliance reporting will then become real time. So at any moment, at any point of any time, the compliant owners can view the system, what's coming up, in terms of compliance checks. Is there any reason that the system is out of compliance, and what's that about? Is there any actions being taken? So it actually gives the end user full control.
Why should we move away from traditional systems to more cloud-based smart fire and lighting solutions? And what kind of impact is it going to make within the commercial industry?
In terms of moving away from traditional systems, I think I mentioned earlier on in previous questions that traditional systems, you need to be on site to understand what is actually happening on that system and rely on compliance reports written by a third party. Whereas through cloud-based technology, we can do that in real time. So at any moment, again, the client or the contractor can check on the system, can check if there's any faults. And if we just let's use a standalone building that doesn't have people on site, so it's just been mothballed. Well, someone would have to go to site to check if the fire alarm was still operational. Using the cloud-based technology, we could see that in an instant by checking on the site through the dashboard, and it would show if the panel was in fault. It would show if the system was fully operational or not. So there's some major advantages in terms of a call coming into the business. There's been a fault on a panel. The first time fix, if we've got the information live from the panel, we have more chance to fix that on the first visit, the engineering visit. System uptime being better, so there's less downtime on the system, and it also lead to the client experiencing less costs. And ultimately, the biggest goal is preserving life. So the more time a system is fully operational, the less chance there is of loss of life or loss of damage to properties.